welcome back to episode 5 of Bits and Pixels podcast.
Woo!
To give you, we are 5. That feels like a nice little milestone.
Right, that's like 5 episodes later from like a prologue. You know, like it's so nice to actually get this far.
I know, and we are really grateful for everyone's support, joining us live on Twitch, as well as listening to the podcast later on YouTube. That's been really nice. So grateful you're all here. As a refresher, who we are, I am Brianna, and I am here with my lovely co-host, Carlo.
Hi, that's
and
me.
Kyle.
What up? It's your boy.
It's your boy.
Your boy.
So since we've got our introductions out of the way, we're going to do a quick little cheers to ourselves and to all of you. Cheers. Pals. I hope you all have a really great drink or meal in hand since we're joining you earlier at dinner hour. Oh, I need my sip.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's like the respectful thing to do, you know, when we do that whole kampai cheers thing, so we don't get bad luck. So I'm glad we don't get bad luck.
You know, I think the nice thing about starting at this earlier hour, just like an hour earlier around like dinner time, is that now everybody who, while they're eating dinner, can like flip over to Twitch and start watching us while they eat. It's like they're like a news program in the evening.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So
we'll be like that 9 o'clock news, you know, but cooler with anime and games and stuff like that. Like that's
the fun stuff.
Yeah, like not all the boring crap.
We start
anime.
We should start like showing up in like super like classy like formal attire and everything for like an episode of the podcast, like
yeah,
just real buttoned up.
I mean, I will plan this, so we'll do business casual next time.
No, not business casual.
Business formal.
Business.
We're like Big D energy, ladies and gentlemen. These are your hosts, and we're just gonna like just flex.
And by Big D, you mean Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil Village.
You know what?
The tall vampire lady.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, and we
100%.
missed out on a lot of things in the past 2 weeks. I mean, her being one of them. I don't know any person who has not liked her. Just her. What do you say?
So much so that the developers like wrote on Twitter that they were surprised by how much love that she's getting, which is
Because
amazing.
she's like 9'6" with the hat,
her shoes and the hat.
I think because there was a tweet that actually put out from Capcom, by the way, and that's my favorite part. Capcom was literally like, we heard you guys are really thirsty.
Basically.
So here's all the things you need to know about her, and here's all the stats, like her height. I don't even know if they had her weight or whatever. Just like her kind of like quote history kind of thing. It's just like, well, either one of 2 ways is going to happen. Rule 34 or really interesting cosplays. So
or both.
Yep. So yeah, Capcom has quite literally unleashed the beast for this, so I'm kind of excited. I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely excited to see a little bit more of a Resident Evil 8 Village shenanigans happening in the near future.
Yeah. Definitely.
Oh yes, I cannot wait to see all the screen captures and records of. I can only imagine.
Who's of the three of us who's gonna bite the bullet, buy that game, and be the pilot for when we do a Let's Play?
Yeah, I'll do it. I love Resident Evil.
Okay.
All right, Carlo, it's you.
You made me play my hand, guys.
You twisted my arm.
Oh darn. But I guess, you know, since we're on that version of catch up, aside from Resident Evil 8, you guys mind if I start off, seeing as, you know, we're on the whole Let's Play kind of deal in video games?
No, go for it.
Do it.
Cool. I guess, you know, for those of you guys, I hope again you all I hope you guys have been doing well. Sorry, I took a sip and I'm already sloshed. And Yeah, so there's been a lot in the that has happened in the past 2 weeks. At least for me, at least in my job, I've been catching up on trying to play Madden 21. Yes, you heard that right. I was playing a football game as a video game, but there has been good news about it. For those of you who do follow EA Sports and the Madden franchise, you guys will be happy to know that NCAA football, college football, for EA Sports is going to be back, and they announced this yesterday on February 3rd. And I have been very much excited and interested in seeing how that's going to roll in the future, especially with using either Madden or NCAA as an esport title.
My big concern with NCAA coming back, like as a franchise, is I hope that they pay the players, the college athletes. Like that was the
Yeah.
big reason why they stopped making those games in the first place, was because yeah.
Mhm. And the funny thing is that there were actually, and this is more of like uh told. This was like not like on paper from what I can tell, but I had heard multiple people who are very much closer to a lot of the football slash sports games than I have been. They had stressed that the fact that it took them until like 2014, since 2014, that means they at least talked to every last university and or college for that game to actually work.
Mhm.
And I would believe that because I mean on Twitter, and there have been so many people who have been in the past several years like, when are we gonna get another NCAA football game, or it's dead. And so when they even noted, oh, thank you guys for being so patient, and here it is. So yeah, I can only imagine in the validity of the statement where they probably actually went to every college just to make sure that they could work out a deal with them of some sort, because I know like you said, I know they had issues with paying some of the players as well, because I'm pretty sure, at least for Madden, like some the players, like I feel like the NFL at least gets some of the money for that too, because they're
Oh,
using like
absolutely.
players. So I don't know any more about that except the fact that because of Madden 21, I was also playing that because the Super Bowl is this weekend. So just like a quick thing, Kansas City Chiefs versus the Tampa Brady Buccaneers. And if you guys are really willing to wonder who's going to win, go ahead and just chat out, put out a little bit of a comment before the Super Bowl happens. Don't be that person who's like February 8th. Oh, by the way, I think Tampa Bay is going to win. They already won. So yeah, don't be that person. Don't be
Do
that.
people do that?
I don't know if people will do that. I feel like they would just be silly bozos.
Or they do something like, oh, I can't believe anybody expected the opposite outcome.
Right? It's really interesting about that. So branching away from the sports stuff, Genshin Impact 1.3 came out. I've been playing that, and there has been changes to a voice for Barbara, a couple voice lines that I was surprised that I heard, and then I saw another link today that said, yeah, there has been changes. So if you guys haven't done so, check out 1.3 for Genshin. They actually had a slew of information slash leaks in every release that I wasn't expecting for this update. And there's honestly a lot of content right now for it to be a good time. So Smash as well, just kind of keeping up with that, making sure, I know how to play the game. Still kind of continuing on the Book of Esports by William Collis. Almost done, so I'm still continuing that. Waiting on the next chapter of Please Don't Tease Me, Nagatoro-san. I know I butchered that "san" part. And then Crimson Karma is one of the other manhwa I'm watching. It's again reading, so that's also been something to pass the time with all the esports recruitment that has to be done over at Albion. Watching. I bought the ReZero game, which is, by the way, the first not PS4. It's the first game that has been from that series to be released worldwide, or at least localized in a specific language, being this case being English. So from what I can tell you, I am trying to catch up with the anime to make sure I can actually play that game, because that game's sitting down somewhere, not here. It's not here, and I'm really sad. And it's so I can actually understand what's going on in the anime. So yeah, don't ruin it for me, guys. Watching BNA, Brand New Animal. That's kind of like one of those quick fun things that I wanted to watch. I only watched like the 2 more episodes, so I'm at episode 3. And I'm liking the VA work so far. Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works, and Fate Khalid Prisma Ilia, because for some reason I've been on a Fate kick lately. Fate series, and so I even re-picked up my gotcha game that you should never do when you are addicted to gotcha games, is to pick up said gotcha game. And so I actually reloaded the game into Fate Grand Order into my phone. I've been playing that, but also because of that, I've been wanting to watch more Fate anime and stuff like that. So that's been a pretty good time. But I'm gonna stop being a weirdo talking about that crap, and I'm just gonna give it up to one of you guys because it's a good time, and I'm just glad to be here with you guys for sure.
Hell yeah,
Go for
yeah.
it, Kyle.
Well, I was gonna say, like, you said like picking back up on a gotcha game and everything. It's interesting that you say that because we talk about like how much we all like Genshin Impact, which is very much a gotcha game.
I know. Look at that way, God dang it.
Really, it's interesting because like I discovered recently that if you pick up on a gotcha game like over like a year after it's been out, don't bother with it. So I got an advertisement. I started watching Dragon Ball Super recently, and I all of a sudden got a ad on Twitter for Dragon Ball Legends, which is a Dragon Ball related gotcha game. And the premise of the game is very simple. It's not a hard game to pick up on, but there are so many different types of currency in the game. And like when I first loaded it up, I shit you not, I think I got 20 different notifications about like, oh, this event is live. This event is live. I'm like, this event is not live anymore. This event, like, it was just a lot all at once to the point where it was sensory overload, and I was just like, I'm deleting this off my phone. I don't know what, like, this is too much. So
It's I could definitely tell because like I understand because I know I think I started two gotcha games like a couple months after it came out in America, and I remember listening to other people saying like it's really hard to catch up to XYZ things. And I mean like, and they do actually try to make it, from what I see, they do try to give you like all the things that you need to catch up, but I feel like there needs to be more support for that. It's really weird. Like it's harder for like late game stuff. So I kind of get what you're going with.
definitely. As far as what I have been up to lately, for one, I have been delving back into Devil May Cry 5. I finished the campaign, the normal campaign. I'd already played through it, so it was just me kind of like just playing it again. I had previously played it on Xbox when it showed up on Game Pass, and I basically now I own it on Steam, and so I was playing through it to kind of catch myself up, so that way when I got to the Virgil DLC, I wouldn't be absolute ass at it. But yeah, so I've been playing a lot of DMC 5, which Bree, you sat in with me on the video that we recorded and is now live on our YouTube channel for anybody who wants to go watch it, as I kind of gave Bree a crash course here in Devil May Cry, and we did a run on the Bloody Palace.
Yes.
What'd you think about all that?
So for me, it was interesting to dive into that series because I knew nothing about Devil May Cry at all. So jumping into Devil May Cry 5 and specifically like going into the Bloody Palace, which was I think you said it's only available at the end of the game.
Yeah, after you beat the campaign.
So that was interesting. I feel like I learned quite a bit just watching you play. The characters are all really kooky, so that part was fun. So I'm interested to learn a little bit more about it.
Definitely. Yeah, there's no better place to jump in than the 5th game in the series, right?
Definitely.
It's like jumping into like I think like the 3rd Star Wars movie and wondering what the hell just happened.
Right, yeah, exactly. So yeah, been playing some Devil May Cry 5. Finally started playing as Virgil. Virgil's a lot of fun to play as. His story mode is also pretty hard. But I dig it so far. I like his play style. It's not exactly hard, but it's not easy. It's challenging. It's challenging for sure. But like when you manage to actually land combos as Virgil, it is so satisfying. Just like everything that goes along with it. It's so cool. I've been playing more Yakuza Like a Dragon. Guess what? That game's still awesome. I think I'm about probably 2/3 of the way through that game now. Kind of really just taking my time with it. 2/3 of way through like the main story, but I'm kind of like taking my time as far as like doing like all like the sub stories and side quests and stuff like that. So yeah, the game still continues to rule. And then the other thing that I have been playing is yesterday on my stream on my Twitch channel, I started playing Nier Automata, which I had previously started Nier on Xbox. I did it for like a stream at one point, and I was like, yeah, this is really cool, and then I just fell off completely. And this was my first time really like giving it another go. This time I'm playing on PC. That game is really cool. I know like I'm like 4 years late to the party. Like Nier Automata came out in 2017, and here we are in 2021, and I'm just now learning this, but Nier Automata rules. After I finish this week of streams that I have planned on my channel, Nier is going to be the game that I stream until it's going to be my stream game for a while, I can tell. So that's pretty cool. Besides video games, I started reading a new book that I got for Christmas. It's called Manga in Theory and Practice by Hirohiko Araki. He's the creator of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, for anybody who doesn't know. It's a very interesting book. It really kind of goes through his philosophies and ideas by how he creates manga, like how to get the attention of an editor and things like that. From what I understand, I'm not very far into the book. I just kind of had like the opportunity. I had like a little bit of downtime while I was out of town this last week to read a couple of chapters, but it's been, from what I understand, there is some like writing philosophy in there too. Like I can't draw at all. I like to think that I'm a pretty good writer, but I can't draw at all, so I don't think manga is necessarily in my career opportunity future or anything like that. But it's the writing philosophy stuff that I really want to get to and kind of and read about. And then other than that, I started listening to a new podcast this past week. I started listening to A More Civilized Age, a Clone Wars podcast. For those who don't know about this podcast, it is by Austin Walker and Rob Zachney of Vice, Natalie Watson, formerly of Vice, and I can't remember the name of the fourth co-host. But basically, they are, with each episode of the podcast, they're kind of going through the Star Wars timeline. So their first episode was they watched Phantom Menace, and they talked about that for the podcast. The second episode of the podcast, they talk about Attack of the Clones, and then from there, now they're moving into the Clone Wars series, where they start talking.
Okay.
They start talking about that. I'm sure eventually we'll get to Revenge of the Sith. We'll get to Rogue One. We'll get to Star Wars Rebels, etc., etc. It's really, really good. It does a really great job. It does a really great job of talking about just like some of the writing decisions and picking up on some of the like less talked about interesting points of these Star Wars movies, especially like the prequel trilogy, because I think there's been this really kind of weird renaissance of like people being like, oh, actually the prequels are like kind of good, and going back and watching them, and they're like, they're maybe better than we gave them credit for originally when we first saw them, but they're still not on the same level that the original trilogy is at. And just talking about like interesting things that they could have played on more, like, oh, let's talk about space politics and everything like that, and that's something that I would have been particularly. That's actually why I like Attack of the Clones. Like the stuff from when they get to Geonosis and on, whatever. Yeah, that's fine and that's pretty cool and everything. But give me some more of that space politics. I want that. I want the intrigue of that. But yeah, it's a very very interesting and cool podcast. I like it a lot. Bree, I know you're new to Star Wars, so if you do decide that you are going to take on the whole thing, maybe
I just realized that every episode, ever since she said she's starting Star Wars, we've called out the fact that she's new to Star Wars every episode since then, at least once, and I find it hilarious.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I need to stop you right there. Much to my husband's chagrin, I don't know a ton about Star Wars, and I am like an idiot when it comes to Star Wars. That being said, I'm not new to this series. I'm just not like as invested. Like I saw all the movies when I was younger, because like my grandfather is super into Star Wars. So like when I was younger, I can't remember watching them all the way through, but like I knew of them, and I may have said this before, and you might hear some screaming from the other room because my husband hates this, but the Lego Star Wars game was like my real entrance, I feel like, into Star Wars, because my brother and I would play it on PlayStation, and that's how I like can remember most of the story, even though like it's a video game and it's Legos. Like it's not, you're not getting a whole lot of story, but that's like scene wise and like plot wise, I remember a lot from that game. So new in the sense that I'm relearning everything from Star Wars, because after I watched The Mandalorian, I really, really enjoyed that show. Started watching, is it Clone Wars that comes first? The television series? I think we got a little frozen, but whatever first series that comes out TV wise, just watch that. And then the secondary series, I think, is Rebels, if I am correct.
I'm trying to remember what order it was actually.
Guys. Hold on, stream has disconnected.
What?
Oh no.
Okay, looks like we're reconnected now. I don't know what happened for a second. We just kind of lost connection.
No worries.
Oh, that's weird.
But we're back now. What happened for a second? We just kind of lost connection.
No worries.
But we're back now.
We're back. Sorry for the disconnect. But yeah, as I was saying, I've just started watching the TV series and getting through that. So I might give the movies another try, because I have watched them all through twice, and like they don't stick that well for me. They're just, I'm not as interested in the movies. Don't hate me.
That's fair. Yeah. Okay. So then I misunderstood that. My apologies.
It's fine. It's just because, like I said, I didn't retain as much from the original series. And like my newest like foot in the door has been through The Mandalorian, The Clone Wars, and now into Rebels. So
right.
I'm still a newbie. But it's not that I've never like dabbled into Star Wars stuff.
Right. Right.
Just want to let you all know that I haven't been living under a rock for 27 years. Only for part of the time. Only part of the time I was living under a rock.
But yeah, I mean that's what I've been up to this past week. That and traveling.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that all sounds good, what you both said so far. I'm definitely interested to learn more about the Fate series, because I've actually read a little bit about the mobile game. So I'd love to hear your take on that, Carlo. Maybe we could talk a little bit more about that later.
Yeah, sure. Just you honestly, whenever you want. I would love to answer that question specifically. I feel like I'm gonna get super hyped about it, but
you're gonna be like, you need to get it. Yeah, that and the manga in theory and practice actually sounds like a really cool book too. I'm not a JoJo fan yet, but I'm always down to read more about writing theory, so that sounds really cool. Yeah. But in terms of what I have been doing these last 2 weeks, I'm going to piggyback off of Kyle, and since you mentioned a podcast, I feel is only right that I mention my other than ours are my new favorite podcast series called Believe It. It is a Naruto podcast where the four co-hosts watch Naruto. They start from the beginning and they talk through the episodes that they watch, and chaos and shenanigans ensue. And it's my favorite thing to do, to listen to on Thursdays. So, and I know sometimes they listen to our live stream. So, I'm a big fan of that podcast. If you like Naruto, I
You
think
mean
you'll
Boruto's
probably
dad?
Boruto's dad, correct?
Boruto's dad Shippuden.
Oh god.
It's the best series.
Yes, that series. They make me laugh constantly, so it's a good mood booster. For playing, I have gotten back on the Genshin Impact train, and I am quite proud of myself. Actually, I haven't played through the most recent update, but I did finally do the adventure rank. The adventure rank, I think, between 25 and 26, where you have to basically go on a quest for the guild, and you have to go through the dungeon and like get through all the enemies, and then you can basically level up to 26, I believe. So I know I'm so late to the game, but I just did it. I just cleared it. I think it recommended it to be like level 30 or so. So I went in with I had a 40 Xiangling, and the rest of mine supporting characters were level 30. By the time I got to the Ruin Guard, I lost all but Xingqiu. And Xingqiu is my boy. He saved me. I got through a Ruin Guard just with him.
Hell yeah.
So that was a really exciting moment for me. He is I really liked Xingqiu before that quest, but now really he's like one of my top characters, just because I destroyed a Ruin Guard. Get wrecked. There you go.
Proud of
you. Thank you. It was a good moment. I need a little pat on the back.
I don't want to talk about how I'm so far into it, but at the same time, it's like I got really mad because I think I had 5 pulls on the banner before this, and I really wanted Ganyu. Okay, she's really cute, and I was like, man, how cool would it be if you can get a cute girl in your
a new waifu?
Yeah, out of all the other cute girls in which you can add to your arsenal of cute girls, and I didn't get to add her as 5 times. By the way, 5 times into my arsenal of cute girls and guys, and then I pull once, like one time, and the first one that comes out is for this banner with Zhao, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Really? I suffered. My wallet died. Like, I committed seppuku on my wallet, and it didn't give me Ganyu. And then first thing you do is give me the person who is on the banner. It's like, we know you struggled hard. Here you go. And I'm like, look, miHoYo, it's either that or I get to join your workforce and get a free PS5. Your choice. And so they decided to give me the Zhao instead. I was angry. I just want to...
That basically happened to me when I was pulling on the child banner, but couldn't get him, and then I ended up getting Zhongli within like 3 pulls when he came out.
I understand the frustration, but like, do you not like Zhao, or are you just like really sad that you didn't get Ganyu?
No, I mean, like, I think Zhao is cool because I need another like animo character. I just want another cute girl.
another waifu to put in my pocket. That's all I need.
Like, I want to take care of all of them, but you know what? miHoYo was like in charge of me that day.
I'm so sorry. Rip for your wallet. Rip for Ganyu.
Can I get an F in the chat?
Yeah, F's in the chat, please. Oh gosh. I haven't even updated for the new banner yet, so I have
Yeah,
not
me
had a
either.
chance. I really I need to do more dailies. I did a couple pulls the last time I played over the weekend, and I don't really have primo gems, so I can't be doing pulls, which is sad.
You can spend $5 for the blessing thing.
If
I
you are
know,
going
but
Do
to
like
that. Don't do
no.
that.
if you are going to engage in any kind of microtransaction in that game, that is the best value one.
True, and I mean, like, would you rather spend $5 at a casino or $5 on Genshin Impact?
See, yes, but yes, but no. Like I don't know. For me, like it does seem very appealing, but I am like a person who just does not like to gamble at all. Like I have gambled once in my life at a casino. I did actually spend $5 and I was like, no, I can't do anymore. I didn't want to lose that money. Like I don't know, I'm just weird. I don't like gambling. So to pay money into a gotcha model for me is just like no, I would rather like if there were skins or if there were like outfits, I would maybe restrain myself, but like treat myself to
You
like
would actually
one
consider it.
time. Like
You would
yeah,
consider
like
it.
consider it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I could see spending money on something like that where if it was like
So you're telling me if Xingqiu got this really super duper cute outfit, you wouldn't spend money on that outfit.
I can't say that I wouldn't, but records so far, I haven't ever played a game where I felt like putting oh, actually that's not true. I just lied live. Um No, okay. I don't know if this counts. So Among Us was on the Steam sale, and Among Us was like $2 off the actual game, so it was like $3. And the pet bundle, like they had the little bundles where you could have like the little creatures or like the
Right.
hats. Those were also on sale for $2. So for the actual price of Among Us, which I think is like $5.99 normally on Steam, I got the game and the pet bundle. So I guess I technically did buy into something that wasn't
Mm-hmm.
a part of the actual game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just here for the aesthetics, okay? Leave me alone. Yes, to answer your question, if there was a really dope outfit for Xingqiu that I wouldn't be able to unlock any other way through gameplay, I would probably consider paying it if it wasn't like a stupid amount. I could see maybe paying like $5 at
Yeah.
max.
Honestly, I'm surprised that they haven't added it yet.
No, I
Yeah.
hope they do.
I kind of want them to. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm hoping it doesn't get super perverted though. Like I don't know why. I
Yeah.
have like a weird feeling like I mean, okay. I'm always a fan of gratuitous like, things. But there's a time where it becomes like overkill, you know,
Yeah.
for said things. It's just kind of like I just want to enjoy the game and the character and I actually appreciate these characters like, I've had my fun of being a dirty old man. I just want to enjoy the damn game.
Just Master
Like,
Roshiing it up.
yeah, like that's why he's in Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
I can't believe that he didn't come into he took so long for them to add him to the game.
Dude, real talk. Yeah, I agree. I was still surprised. I was like,
He should have been in the base game.
yeah, I thought I was like he should have. Why is he in here now? Like I didn't even think about him until he popped up. I was like, oh my god, why wasn't he here?
Too many Gokus.
How many go?
There's too many Gokus and too many Vegetas.
Knowing you, it's definitely like one Goku is too many Gokus.
No, I mean, you can like put obviously Goku's got to be in the game. Like, I think you can do multiple versions of him and everything, but it's like obscene how many Gokus are in that game.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I gotta look it up.
No,
now.
I agree. But we're sorry. This is your time to
Oh no, you're good. All good. But yes, if there, I really hope that in a future update they can figure out getting outfits for the characters or ways to unlock it. And the next thing I'll say that I hopefully that they could also implement is better online play. Online play right now sucks. I'm not a fan. Like, it's fun when we were playing it, right? But we kind of like fell off the wagon, like in our own ways, and just kind of play it individually. But it sucks because anytime I wanted to play with you two, you had to come to my server, and like I couldn't go to yours because it's capped with the world levels. So I hope they figure that out in the future. Or
Well, I know I can actually go into your server, like your world, because I've done that with multiple people anyway. So it's possible, like.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I can't go into yours.
Yeah.
Because I'm baby and I'm only like adventure rank 26. Which, and when we start playing, I was baby adventure rank like 16. So we've come a long way. But anyway, off the Genshin Impact train. I want to talk about what I've been reading. So I've talked a little bit about some webtoon series that I have read in the past. I have just discovered The Remarried Empress, and I am addicted. It is so good. It basically, long story short, is a medieval era fantasy kingdom, and the emperor and the empress, who are fairly young. I think I may have actually talked about this before on the podcast, now that I'm remembering. The emperor takes on a mistress. The empress is not okay with that after some time because the mistress is a trickster in some ways. And
you were about to see a really bad no word.
No, not here. No. I'm a good. I would never.
Press X to doubt.
Hold on. I got you.
I mean, there's no need. It's a fictional character. I'm okay. But reading the comments on that webtoon is actually really funny because people do get heated on webtoon because you can write comics under each episode, and people give like names to these like alternative names to these characters. It's hilarious. And a lot of people hate the emperor. They like shit on him because the emperor is such is all about his mistress now and just pushes the empress to the side. There's a lot of drama, and which makes this webtoon very, very addicting. I'm always refreshing on Wednesdays and Sundays when they come out. So
it's like second that day hits, you're like reset, refresh.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I'm like, I don't know if I said this last time, but in like 3 or 4 days, I caught up on 45 episodes.
Impressive.
How long does each episode take you?
I mean, it depends, because I think it also kind of depends on how many panels per episode. I don't know the average, but for me, this series, at least for me, is not the type that I want to quickly scroll through. Like, I actually take my time reading through because the artwork is just so beautiful and so ornate, and you can tell that it's actually a studio that created it, but you could tell that they whether they made it themselves or they purchased it, they have 3D rendered backgrounds to all of their images, and it's just really, really well done. I don't know if there's anything in the works, but I could totally see this not only as an anime adaptation, but a live action. I think it's just that good. So if anyone is interested into romantic drama series that are set in like a fantasy, medieval Game of Thrones type of vibe, I would say check that out.
I was actually, because of you, by the way, I was just looking at stuff that I know you're gonna bring up, and I wanted to like talk to you about it.
Oh yes.
I've been seeing a lot of Horimiya stuff on Instagram, and I hate how cute it is. Like just the entirety of it. I was like, oh, one episode's fine, and now I'm like looking at all the pictures, like I want more. Like I just want more
Oh,
because
this looks
it's really good.
adorable.
It is very adorable. It's also pretty funny. You need to watch the anime. It's on Funimation. You can get I think there's 3 free episodes because I'm using the free version.
Hmm.
I
Oh,
believe there's 3 free out now, and then this week another one will be coming out. So it is really good. I love the dynamic between the two main characters. I
yeah.
actually started the manga series too. I've only read volume 1, and that's actually interesting because from what I have seen so far, the anime like doesn't follow like beat by beat the manga, which I know is normal, but there's some chapters that happen in the manga that have not even been touched upon yet, like in the sequence. So I'm like, I wonder when they're going to put that in, like, and how that would change the story for the anime, because the story for the manga versus the story for the anime is a little different. Oh my gosh, it's so cute.
Yeah,
If
no,
anyone,
you got me really hooked onto that, and I wanted to get to you before you got there, because like right as you got there, because it was just super cute. Just
it
like like
is.
this the reactions from like especially from um the female protagonist. It's super adorable to just listen to them and be like their interactions and like how like, are you sure you like him? I absolutely don't. Then why are you so possessive? I don't know. Like it's just like that feeling where it's just kind of like, oh, you.
Hmm.
I
They're so
shipped this
witty
system for a
too.
second. Yeah, it's great. I like it. Thanks. So thank you. It was a good suggestion. Like a full
Oh
good
yeah,
suggestion.
you're welcome. If you end up watching the anime, let me know so we can talk about it.
I'm like waiting because I don't want to like. I do that thing where it's like I don't want to watch every episode while it's concurrently coming out.
Oh,
You
you
know?
want to wait until there's more?
Yeah, it's because like
Yeah.
I will get into that thing where I'm like obsessed with it
Mm.
and like sit there and refreshing it for every chance I get.
I totally feel that. And
Yeah.
I feel that with Webtoon too, because you have a same deal. You typically have like a new episode or a new chapter to read
Hmm.
every week. And the chapters are short because it's just like a scrolling, you go through them so quick and you're like, wait, but I feel like more needs to happen. What's happening?
Oh,
Um, but I get that with anime too. Like right now, my whole list is solely new anime that came out like like last month and this month, which is not normal for me. So like I guess in a way it's nice because I can bounce around to different shows and I have like something to look forward to throughout the week.
yeah.
But because I'm caught up on all of them right now since they only have 3-4 episodes out, I'm like, okay, it's Thursday. Like I have Horimiya to watch, or whatever day it comes out. So I get that. But then like I'm also the type of person where if I let a show go too long, like it'll go on my eventually list and then like my attention span just goes somewhere else and then I
Hmm.
never get to it.
You know what
Point.
though? At least you know it's a thing. At least you're like, "Yeah, I know I know I'm gonna enjoy the show, so it's there. Like at least you're more consistent on the anime world than I am. That's for sure.
I'm trying, and that also has a little bit do with like what I want to do creatively.
Mhm.
So like I'm trying to and like be a little bit more knowledgeable about what's going on in the anime world for this podcast specifically as well. So I know what the hell I'm talking about. But there is a lot of good stuff that's out this season. Where I will say last year, whether for reasons that I just wasn't paying attention or just not as interested, I feel like there's a lot of shows this season that have got me interested to want to watch them that I just haven't got to. Like
Yeah.
Wonder Egg Priority is a new one that just came out, and that looks really good. Have you seen it?
Here's you know what's cool because you're okay. So you're the first person I can talk to about this. Regarding Wonder Egg Priority, I swear to God, the girl with like the short blue hair with like the clip. I think she's the main protagonist. But if she's not voiced by Jackie Lastra, we're gonna have issues because she looks exactly like Xiang Ling, And for some reason, I thought, oh look, it's like first time I ever saw it, I was like, oh look, it's Zhang Ling as an anime character, and I was like, wait a second, and I see
Wait,
Wandering Party.
yes, I could see it
I
actually now that you brought that up.
it actually like I'm actually kind of insulted because I had no idea what was a thing. I was like, please, this looks really cool. And honestly, from what I've heard, it has been really great.
Yeah, I've heard that too. A lot of people that I follow on Twitter have really been into Wonder Egg Priority, and they are giving it raving reviews. So it's on my list to try. Maybe I'll get to that this weekend, and I can talk
Good.
about it next week.
We can all do it together. At that point,
Ooh,
it'd be a good time.
that'd be
Um,
fun, actually. You want to do that?
Yes. Actually, yeah. We should just do like a small watch party thing. Just kind of like watch the good stuff. And
Yeah,
by the good
that's
stuff, I mean
fun.
Wonder Egg Party and maybe Horimiya. Most definitely Horimiya.
Most definitely Horimiya. The other three that I'm gonna mention, I wouldn't care if we didn't. But Horimiya. No, they're good, but I just don't think like I just don't know if everyone would like them. You know what I mean?
There's Horimiya, and then there's like anime that aren't as good as Horimiya,
There's Horimiya, and then there's everything else.
and lesser Horimiya. Um,
Like I would not recommend, like other than I said this last time. I don't know if I would recommend Dr. Ramune, the mysterious disease specialist, to just anyone out on the street. You know, like I said this on the podcast. Like if anyone was interested, like I would maybe see what you two would want to like say about it and like what your reaction would be. But it's a weird show. So that is one that I would be like, we'll wait on that a little bit.
I mean,
We'll
you did
let
kind of
it.
call it when you had like a sibling who wanted to watch Kakegurui, and you're like, you're 9.
Yeah, I'm glad that my big sister spidey senses went off because I was like, because I know when I was watching some stuff when I was, well, I wasn't 9 when I started like watching some of the anime, and of course there's much more now, but there was probably some stuff I shouldn't have watched or read when I was young. So I'm glad that I'm much older. I can be like, no.
You know how like Clamp, like the studio Clamp, like the
Yes.
creators of card captors and whatnot. I
Yeah,
remember I
we
was
talked
in
about this last week.
Yeah, like I was in 5th grade, and I watched Chobits.
Oh
So
my
I'm like,
god,
it's a
same
Clamp
though.
series, right? So I just kind of
Yes.
like it reminded me of that time when I watched Chobits, and my older sister, walked in, and it was the part where she was just being found. She's in the
Oh
dumpster. She's
no.
naked, wrapped up in I don't know what the hell she's wrapped up in, but I assume something at least that helps her, get covered for censorship issues. But my sister walked in. She's like, "Aren't you like, 11? You're not even supposed to watch that." And I looked at the case. I was like, you know what? I thought it was fine. And it was the most awkward thing because my sister, it's like, and I'm gonna be a little bit aggressive on this one, but it's like when you're trying to just, watch anime, and then your family walks in and you're just hiding it because you felt like you just watched the dirtiest porn online.
Yeah.
Like that's it. It feels like that. Like every time you
Yeah.
watch anime too with your family. Like I can't even watch it with my wife. It's just like I feel like a dirty person. It could be like the most wholesome anime. Nope.
With any like whether it's anime or show where there's like adult themes, like if there's anyone else in the room, I'm just like, no, this doesn't feel right. But I feel like when I was younger, like even I don't know, because when I was getting into anime, like I would do Google searches of like anime characters or like anime girls with wings, because like I watched a show called Air from KyoAni that I was like super into, so I wanted to like look up other anime characters with wings, and I felt like really embarrassed to know that like because we shared a family computer, so I was super embarrassed that like my family was probably knowing that I was Google searching like anime characters because I was like, oh no, people, this is weird. This isn't accepted. Like it's yeah, I don't know.
It's like having that. It's kind of, yeah, because it's super weird because it feels like, You know, like when you're watching a movie and like that weird romantic kiss scene comes up, you're like, Mom, look at that look. Dad, stop. You know, like you just feel so awkward. Like
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's any sort of, yeah.
we should
And
just make a
also
promise if we
anime
ever have
is
kids, by the way, that if we ever see them watching anime, we don't act like our parents.
right.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
I mean, I think like my family didn't really understand or know. And a lot of the anime that I ended up watching was either at, wow, I'm gonna be a big nerd here, at the anime club at my local library. That's how I ended up watching a lot of Naruto for the first time. And Toonami, because Toonami ran really late. So, like, you turn that on at, like, I don't know, whatever time it was, 10, 11 p.m., and watch that till, like, 1, 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Or finding like, again, I'm an aesthetics person. Like, I would just walk into FYE and, like, pick up a DVD and be like, oh, this looks interesting, and not know, like, what the hell I was picking up. And that's how I ended up discovering a lot of different types of anime. Like
Okay.
Haruhi Suzumiya, I purely found because I walked into FYE and picked up the DVD for season 1, and like now it's one of my favorite series. So
I actually interviewed the person who voiced Haruhi, by the way, Wendy Lee. I think you watched that video too. She's
did you send that one to me?
Yeah, she's like super legit, by the way, like super serious. Like she's really good at her job, and it showed when she actually, like, it was my friend and I, and this is when we were getting started. We were at YomaCon in Detroit, Michigan, 2018, and like we were like, yeah, let's go have an interview. And I was like, I remember Wendy Lee. I was like, she literally voiced half my childhood in anime, like well, her amongst other people, of course, but it's like, you know, in terms of direction, like she literally directed our own interview. That's how good of a job good of a.
That's
she
when
is
you
at her job.
know. Yeah.
And she's really great too. Like she's super nice, super legit, down to earth. Like we had like a super cool discussion about like I think that interview was focused a lot on not really her voice acting. It was just like just about her. It was like, oh yeah, just tell me more about like just the shenanigans that you're doing and all that whatnot, and like nature. And I heard you like pets, and so we talked about that for like 30 minutes, and that was great. So I mean, yeah. So, which by the way, if anybody here has an interest in specific voice actors and you would like us to interview them, go ahead and put that like somewhere, email us, whatever. If you have any suggestions for safe, quote unquote safe, you know, conventions, like virtual even more so preferred, you know, let us know and then we'll see what we could do about it. I assume, you know, you guys, like we all would like to get back to like having you know, a little bit of somewhat normalcy, at least when it comes to like running the podcast and having guests and some interviews happening. So just like as a side note.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've definitely talked about in earlier this evening about like there are a lot of things that we would like to do once like the world kind of gets back to normal, if that's possible. Like talking about like things like all three of us, 'cause we all live in different states. Like if that's not like clear from the fact that we do this all over Discord and everything. We were talking earlier about like it would be really cool if like the three of us could all go to a convention together, like choose like maybe like a third party state where we all travel and go to like is like Akon, is that in Texas?
I think Akon is in Texas. Like I know not Momocon's in Georgia. I don't know about that. There's one near like Washington DC and stuff that I remembered. I think maybe that was SakuraCon. I don't know. It's been like a year since I've seen or heard of an anime convention.
That's fair.
But yeah, hope like the hope is that we can keep on continuing like growing both the podcast and the Twitch channel, the YouTube channel, everything in general, and do some really crazy cool stuff like that. Like eventually at some point, that'd be really rad.
Thank you for at least joining us for all this time. We're appreciative of that. But yeah, if we experiment with some more stuff, we'll always let you know. But let me finish out my little anime roundup real quick. I'll just breeze through these. So, have still been watching Wave, Let's Go Surfing, Dr. Ramune. As weird as it is, I still oddly find myself wanting to watch it every week. It is interesting. Skate the Infinity, I finally started, and that is just making me so happy because of my personal background with skateboarding as a child. So, like, having a skateboarding anime just makes me so happy.
Now you could say that there's an anime for everything.
That's true. This was like an interesting year. Like, if the Olympics do happen, we'll see. Skateboarding was actually going to be like first time debuted at the Tokyo Olympics. Whether that happens or not, that's really awesome for the skateboarding world. And then we have Skate the Infinity now.
Like, no esports in the Olympics? That's not fair.
Not yet, but maybe, Carlo, you can pitch it to them. You know, when things get normal and we can travel to Japan, you could be like, hey, yo, what's up? Like, let's do some esports. Definitely say it like that too.
I was like, yo, I got you, Chief. I got you.
I got you. Yeah, that would be funny. And then the last anime that I've been keeping up with over the last few weeks is Heaven's Design Team. I don't remember if I talked about this the last couple of episodes.
You did. That sounded rad.
It is very rad. There's 5 episodes out right now. It's on Crunchyroll.
Okay.
Again, you can watch the first 4 for free. It is really good. Didn't know if I was really going to be that interested in it, but it is very, very good. Yeah, check it out. But that concludes my portion here, my catch-up for the week. I think we are going to take a quick break to...
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, no. I was just going to say, we are taking a quick break.
Yeah.
Before we get into the rest of our portion of the podcast here. So grab your drinks, eat a couple bites of dinner. We'll see you very soon.
Yeah.
And we are back. Thank you for hanging out with us throughout that little 10-minute break. Alcohol goes through you really quickly, as it turns out.
Wonder why.
Weird. I don't know. But moving on into our next section, we have our email section. If you guys want to send us a email, it's been up at the bottom of the screen on the during our live stream and on the YouTube version of it. But for those listening on the audio version, you can send us an email with a question over at our email address, bitsandpix@gmail.com. That's BITSANDPIXS@gmail.com. And make sure to put the word question in the subject. And and if we like your question enough, we will answer it on the podcast.
I mean, honestly, we've only had like one person do it so far, so if you do it, you'll likely
that's also
as long.
Also very, very true. So this week we have another email from our good friend Michael. He's one of our moderators here on our Twitch channel. He has sent us an email that says, "Dear the DMC crew, was watching some DMC 5 and thinking of all the crazy devil arms Dante gets throughout the DMC franchise. Got me thinking, if your life essence was coalesced into the form of a weapon, what would it be? Doesn't have to be a conventional weapon, can be as ridiculous as a motorcycle, guitar, cowboy hat, whatever." I think of the three of us, I'm really the only one who's played a lot of Devil May Cry. So if you guys don't mind, I can go first.
Please take it away.
You can take my spot because the only thing I know about Devil May Cry, aside from Dante and Virgil, is that Dante and Virgil are also kind of hot. That's as far as that goes.
Yeah.
So
fair. Fair. So for those who don't understand the question, in the Devil May Cry games, whenever Dante or Virgil or Nero defeats a really powerful demon, every now and then their life essence coalesces into the form of what's called a devil arm. A devil arm is basically a new weapon to use in your arsenal for you to kind of switch out into at will. Sometimes that takes the form of, like, when Devil May Cry 5, for example, where you fight King Cerberus, which is literally a Cerberus from, three-headed dog, and you defeat him. He becomes a elemental nunchuck / bow staff, basically, that can do fire, ice, or electric damage. I've been thinking about this question since Michael sent it in to us, and I think the best thing that I can come up with is I think I'd be a great sword. Not like a great sword, but like, a great sword. One word. Like, because in the wrong hands, I'm like kind of clumsy, and like probably would do like way more damage than I should. But like in the right hands, I feel like I could do some controlled massive damage, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Good answer.
For a silly answer, as far as like, because like Devil May Cry, it can be any kind of thing. I think it would be like a flat bill hat, and just it would be just something really weird, like it's like a ranged weapon where you just kind of like throw it like a oh god, I forgot words. Ninja star. Shuriken. Thank you.
Yeah.
I like Naruto too.
I was gonna say the Naruto lover knew that before we did.
Of course.
I'm good for something on the show.
But what about you guys?
I got you.
What about you guys? What do you think?
Carla, do you have an answer? Okay. All right. So I had two answers, and I feel like they function somewhat similarly, but probably don't make sense. But they came to mind first, so I'm gonna say them. My first instinct was to be turned into like a pocket mirror, and that was like in my mind. I thought like it's small enough to carry. It doesn't seem like it's very inconspicuous. Like I feel like if you were to whip out a pocket mirror, it would confuse like your enemy right away.
Oh, absolutely.
And the idea was to like shine it or like put it in like near the enemy, and they would be faced with themselves in the mirror, and it would like mind F them and like stun them, where you would be able to go in and like finish the job. That's a weird one, I guess.
I like it. I like it. I can dig it.
I could, yeah, I dig that. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that came to mind. I just thought it would be like, oh, looking in the mirror, like seeing your true self and like getting all sorts of messed up.
Your true form, like
Yeah.
That was like my favorite Xander Mobius impression, and the fact that I just did that so poorly.
It's fine. I don't know the reference, so it's okay. It's perfect to me.
Persona 5, the voice of Joker.
Played it. I haven't played it.
So
I know.
Fun thing about Persona 5, it's about personas,
which are based off of JoJo stands. It's true. It's true. It's true though. It is true. Persona, the Persona series and the Shin Megami Tensei series is based off of JoJo.
Before I go into like what I would be, I just want to let you know I'm still bitter. By the way, when I was streaming Osu and you made me play through like 2 different JoJo songs, I'm still bitter about that because I just felt.
You weren't bitter at the time though. You weren't bitter at the time. You were like, "Oh, these rock. These slap."
They were great, and I actually hated how good they were because I do not like JoJo, and I love the fact that you love JoJo, but I just felt like JoJo was just enveloping my body. The more I listened to that song again, I was like, oh my, JoJo's the thing. I guess JoJo's the thing. So
yeah, there you go.
I guess.
You know what? I was thinking about it literally while you guys were talking, and it took me like forever to figure it out. But I think like I'd be a microphone.
That's a good answer. I was thinking that too.
Wow.
That's a
Okay.
good one.
Like so the weird thing about the microphone, it'd be more like an enhancer,
Hmm.
right? You could use like if you speak into the microphone, right? It doesn't have to be like connected into like some speakers or anything, but if you speak into the microphone, it enhances your like a kind of sonic ability
Hmm.
where it's just like kind of like shockwaves and all that whatnot, like something like that. Or if I had the like if or another thing would be if you do like the mic ability, like if someone spoke into me as a mic, with me being a mic, it would also increase their ability to analyze and speak and like actually like read everything and stuff like that, and be able to kind of just like what they say, they'll be able to think about it and like I need to move or something like that.
Hmm.
Like the only drawback is like they have to hold on to it the entire time or they lose the power. I think that's as far as that go. They can't just like hold
Yeah.
it and run like fuck, like they have to hold the mic like right here for it to like work, and so they'll just be running with one arm like, oh my god, so
If you wanted to do it with like the cable plugged into it too, you could do some kind of like nunchuck thing, like where you're like
Oh.
swinging like the mic all the way around, and like when it makes contact with something, you get like feedback through a speaker and do like more like AOE damage or something like that.
Let me test that really fast. Just kidding. um, that sounds, yeah, your idea is honestly better than mine at that point.
But yeah, I think that does it for our email section. Thank you again to Michael for another fantastic email question. Again, if you want to send us a question and possibly hear it read on air, you can send that over to bitsandpix@gmail.com. That's bitsandpixs@gmail.com. And be sure to include the word question in your subject.
Is it wrong that I thought about the Mickey Mouse theme when you were spelling that out?
BITSANDPIXS.
Why does that fit? Why?
Why does
Gone
that-
off.
Bits and pics. Bits and pics. Bits and pics. BITSANDPIXS. Bits and pics.
Well, that's it. Fine. I mean,
Oh no.
Wow, yeah.
This
Thank
is
you
a-
so much for joining the episode. We're just gonna like.
This is a forbidden discovery. This can't see the light of day.
I'm gonna drink my sorrows away. now.
Well,
Thank you very
that's
much.
unfortunate since
Yeah.
you know.
Can you like edit that out later?
I mean, I could.
As he just keeps it right in. Like,
Oh yeah.
No, I actually would love this instead of the intro music.
Mhm.
Like have this in the background right as we start.
It's the new intro music. It's the new
No,
intro
no, please.
music. I'll
yeah, just we
Please.
should get. We should
Oh
get-
no, I'm
we
gonna
should
do it
get
as a
Dre.
goof. I'm gonna do it as a goof now. Oh no.
No, but it'd be cool because like we can get Dre to like sponsor that, and it'd just be sick beats by Dre, and then just like intro, BIT, and it'd be like that shenanigan where we just wanted to cringe and cry about it, but at the same time we're happy that it's existing right now in front of us.
That's gonna be the new email jingle.
That should be like email jingles. That should be like a if someone followed or like someone did bits or something.
Oh,
One of
God.
us has to sing that, and I
Oh
nominate. that.
no.
But
Okay.
'cause I hate being behind the mic. I hate it. It's stupid. I don't like speaking behind the mic at all. So you do it.
Okay, fine.
I love how we're just workshopping ideas for this podcast.
Oh yeah, I mean, episode 5. It's all downhill from here. We have to talk about like
Was it ever uphill?
Well, we were at a plateau for a second, and then we realized that degeneracy season starts in February. So
That's why I was born this month. I'm a degenerate.
I hate it here.
you know what? Let's go to news. Let's go to news.
It's time for the news.
Now I just want to play
Wow.
Tank from Cowboy Bebop.
And
Um,
getting into the news, I want a quick reaction from my other two co-hosts. What do y'all think about the MiHoYo employee meeting that gave out, or the lottery of the PS5, Switches, iPhones to their employees that recently happened?
I think
so
it.
for those,
Good.
sorry.
Good.
Oh, I was gonna say for those as a background check, for those of you who aren't really like tuned to who MiHoYo is, they are the creators of this wonderful game that does not consume any souls or money, Genshin Impact, which is
No.
free on the computer. It's free, and you could play, do all these shenanigans like in an open world that kind of is similar to. It's basically like bootleg Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, but with cute anime boys and girls. So it's a very enjoyable time, and I've heard that there are a lot of people who work at MiHoYo that enjoy working at MiHoYo. Um, yeah, for those of you who don't know, they did a thing for their workers. Just how long ago was that, Kyle? Do you
It was tweeted about this week by
Daniel Ahmad. It was tweeted on the
Yeah.
2nd, so
the
a couple
second,
of days
so that was
ago.
Tuesday.
Huh.
So essentially, again, like as Carlos said, MiHoYo is the creator of Genshin Impact. Found a tweet by Daniel Ahmad, who is a senior analyst at Nico Partners, and he talks a lot about the video game industry on his Twitter. Does a lot of really great investigative work, I think, within the game market in specifically China and in Asia.
Mhm.
Is his market. But he tweeted out these pictures in the MiHoYo office, it looks like, of literally like stacks of PS5 from like PS5s from the floor to almost the ceiling, Switches, same deal, a bunch of iPhones, and they basically like lottery like raffled them off, I guess, essentially to their employees as I'm assuming a thank you for a good year so far.
Yeah, everybody in the company got something from this. Like, but they basically ran a gotcha system to see who got like the really crazy stuff. They had different odds for different pieces of tech. It's really crazy.
There's actually a breakdown now. I'll retweet it, but there's a breakdown of the percentages of like being able to pull these specific items.
Forgot that you post. I forgot that that you put that somewhere, and I read it. And what made me really like just break my mind when I read this. First, when I saw this, it was, and I think I told you guys earlier, I thought it was just a meme. I was like, haha, funny because it's a gotcha system.
Nope.
I can't believe they did that. I legitimately can't believe it. Like, it makes me want to actually quit my job and go work for MiHoYo. I'll be their strategist or something. I'll bring my handful of friends over and help them work with me.
I'll do QA.
Yeah, see, there you go. You got it. I'll do the localization. How about that?
There you go.
I'll write the scripts. Yeah. We'll just
Get
quit.
out there. Yeah, that kind of blows my mind. I mean, MiHoYo does have quite a few games under their belt, but obviously this was a really successful game for them. I think Kyle, before we started, you said that they made back development costs in 2 weeks, and it's a free game.
It had the second most successful mobile game launch of all time behind Pokemon Go.
Yep.
That's amazing.
And it got close to beating Pokemon Go.
What's really interesting about it is that, like, because MiHoYo actually had, and I heard about this game before Genshin. Actually, I heard about the game before I actually heard of MiHoYo, which is kind of funny. It was called Honkai Impact, the third, and it was really weird because it was just some, like, it kind of felt like a futuristic kind of fight system. I think it was also a gacha. I only played like 30 minutes of it on my phone, and I was like, whatever. I'm not a huge like phone game person, says the guy who plays Fate Grand Order. But I thought it was really interesting because they basically I feel like the reason why they did so well with Genshin, but they didn't do so well with Honkai, is because, like, if Honkai had abilities to, like, because I like looking back at Honkai Impact, it has a really good premise to it, a good system to it, like fighting wise. Like if it had access to PC, where a lot of people like controls wise don't feel as cornered, I feel like Honkai would have been more successful than Genshin if Honkai was released similarly to Genshin, how Genshin was just this past October. So I mean, I think what's really cool too is that MiHoYo was at least doing something fun for that,
For
for their
sure.
employees, because it kind of just shows that they're not Naughty Dog.
Ooh.
And,
Oh,
Ooh, shots fired.
I'll say it. I'll say it. I first off, I'll say it. I'm the director of esports at Albion College. Okay, I will say it. I will say these things. But yeah, no, and I'll say it, like, because you could see that, especially when they're being more like vocal about it. Like you can see that they're very supportive to like their fan base. They try to listen to their fan base. Is a lot of the things that we've listened to about character changes, a lot of the premium gems, the rates. That's always going to be a thing, and I think people get salty, and I don't think they understand how gambling works,
right.
which may or may not be a good thing. But it just shows that MiHoYo is a company. They do their best, especially in a pandemic, just to kind of give things to their workers. Granted, like as for support, and I mean, granted, that's probably the reason why we don't have PS5s right now. But I'll accept that. I'll accept that fact as long as we know that they're somewhat of a decent company for their employees.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is like for me, even though it's like, oh man, like, it's nice to see creative people in our industry like get rewarded for the job that they do because it's not the standard. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's awesome for them. So I hope that they continue to see like the success.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to get a quick reaction on that because that was something that happened this week, and I thought it was really cool, also kind of funny.
I assumed we were just gonna walk and head over to MiHoYo. Just the three of us.
I mean,
I was thinking about that, by the way, during break. I was thinking of 3 Peens in a Pod, the Markiplier podcast with him, Wade, and shoot, I feel bad, I forgot his other name. But then I forgot that you go by Bean, and I was like,
sorry.
But there's no 3 Beans, but there's a podcast. We'll go with it.
It works fine. But rolling into the next part of this new segment, everything that I'm going to talk about is either Nintendo or anime. So jumping right into it, for those who are Animal Crossing lovers or enjoy the game, you probably know I talk about it all the time. I really enjoy the game and the new updates that they bring with the holidays. The newest update that's hinted at so far is for March. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head. I don't know if they released it. I probably should have looked that up. You can look it up. But the March update is hinted to be Mario themed, whether that's Mario themed items, outfits. I think we'll find out more in the next week, 2 weeks before February is over. But the banner that they put out this past week does have a star on it and a Goomba. Or, I'm sorry, a mushroom. It has a red mushroom and a star on it. So that is leading me to believe that there is going to be some Mario-themed items that are coming out for the new update. So I'm really curious to see what they're going to do. And this is obviously all around the 35th anniversary for Mario, which is ending March 31st this year.
Yep, March 31st, that's when they kill Mario.
He's dead. Sephiroth comes in and
impales
his
him.
head off. Yeah. And not just through the suspenders.
I kind of honestly forgot that at least that the Mario, was it 35th? Is it the 35th anniversary?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's a couple 35th anniversaries, which is my next point.
Okay.
So, the Legend of Zelda series is also turning 35 this year. Actually, this month, February 21st, will be the official 35th anniversary of when Legend of Zelda first appeared. There has been yet like any information released on what they plan on doing, which I am highly anticipating, refreshing my Twitter feed a lot. So once I find out more information, I'm sure we'll probably see something in the next week because the 21st is in like less than 2.5 weeks away. So you'll get the whole lowdown on that. Maybe I'll make some Legend of Zelda content like on my own and let you know my thoughts on it. But expect to hear more on that end. Another Legend of Zelda bit here is that it was released by IGN. I'm reading the article right now on February 2nd. It was updated yesterday that Nintendo reportedly canceled a Zelda Netflix series after it leaked. Is the title here? So apparently, now this is this is all through. It's coming from like unannounced parties, I guess, like employees who are obviously like not coming forward with their names or anything like that. But apparently, around 2015, there was news of a prospective live-action Legend of Zelda series with Netflix back in, as I said, 2015, and apparently, don't know how true this may or may not be, but based on an employee from Netflix, there was information leaked about the potential new live action series around Legend of Zelda that they were working with Nintendo. Apparently, Nintendo got wind of someone leaking the information and called everything off. So this is interesting because this is just coming to light like almost 6 years later. So again, this is all speculative, based on some reports of workers at Netflix. I'm really curious if anyone is a fan of Legend of Zelda, what your thoughts are on the idea of having a live action show. I'm not going to get into it on here because I could definitely go on a long tangent, which I'm not going to do, but leave in the comments, chat, or if you are listening to this at through streaming, you can shoot us a message on Twitter. I definitely want to know what your thoughts are. Moving into anime news, the anime Nana is returning. The license was rescued by Sentai Filmworks. So I believe it is coming back through streaming services and a home video release. I want to say, I'm just quickly looking through this article. I believe it's for this year. So there you go.
I can't remember because I was looking at it, by the way, because I wanted to know what Nana was about, because I feel like I've heard of it before.
Yeah, do you want me to give you just a quick synopsis?
Yeah, especially for silly people similar to me in that sense who are in stream, who are just watching us.
Yeah, no worries. I will preface, I have not watched the show, but because this is an older show and it's kind of a cult favorite between at least people that I interact with, and I know it's just a pretty like well-respected show. Basically, the synopsis here is two 20-somethings seemingly share nothing in common apart from their first name, but of a chance of meeting on a train bound for Tokyo sets Nana Komatsu and Nana Osaki on a collision course with destiny. Nana Komatsu, a love-at-first-sight dreamer, aims to find enduring happiness in the big city. Nana Osaki is a neo-punk rock vocalist who is trying to pursue her burning ambitions of musical stardom and worldwide fame. As their fates increasingly intertwine, they each chase their dreams until the harsh realities of life in the big city of Tokyo threatens to tear everything apart. So that's your quick little synopsis.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It definitely sounds like really interesting for sure.
Yeah, no, and I just knowing how loved it is by the anime community, I will now be interested to see it now that it's getting its license renewed by Sentai. And my final bit here for anime news. So we have the Mario World that's already being built. Well, guess what? We're getting Studio Ghibli Park. It's coming to Japan in fall of 2022,
Sweet.
which is going to be, yeah, which is really cool. So it's going to be bringing some of this, the landscape and some of the famous structures from quite a few of the Studio Ghibli films into life. So all there is online is rendering. So if you were to look up Studio Ghibli Park, it's basically just showing some sketch renderings as well as some 3D model renderings if you're interested to look. But it looks like they're going to have some things from Princess Mononoke, and some things from. Oh, they're gonna have like a warehouse area. So it just overall, like the artwork looks really cool. So more info on that once we get more information from the company.
Neat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Talking about him, actually I think he said he was stepping out. Hayao Miyazaki was actually just talking about how he was gonna step out of retirement because he's just really bored with retirement to direct another movie. And I think this is like the 17th time he said something like that, which I have no problems with him doing that. If anything, I'd love him to live forever. But I just find it really interesting because he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna retire, and then he does, and then all of a sudden he's just like, I just want to do stuff. And I kind of just I love the work ethic that Hayao Miyazaki has, which is another reason why I'm pretty sure you and I are both huge fans of Studio Ghibli in general. So it kind of just works out. Just personal thoughts on that. Going into the next set of news, for those to be a little bit more on the technical side of things, Jeff Bezos is out of Amazon, so he is going to be stepping down from his position in Amazon, from Amazon, excuse me. And I believe he's going to be transitioned to the role of an executive chair. I think that's like the third quarter of this year. And so someone named Andy Jassy will be taking over as the CEO of Amazon. No idea, and I'm actually kind of curious about this. I have no idea what this would mean for Amazon, Twitch, or any of the partners that Amazon is with. For what at least I've seen, there hasn't been really anything big. But I feel like with Jeff Bezos stepping down, things may change. But like we think about that too. It's like, oh yeah, look, we got a new president. Things may change. It may actually not, like something like cool may happen, something may not. But I just find that really interesting, and it may actually affect a lot of people who are who are like in Twitch, in Amazon, or just like the way like just stuff is being run, because obviously different mindsets, and so on and so forth. So just as a heads up.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion on it is like I don't think that we will see anything from the consumer level, like as far as like different as like operations goes. I think on the internal level there will be some changes, but it's going to be the type of, whether it's for the good or for the worst. It's hard to say at this point what it actually means. I don't think that like specifically Twitch and Amazon from the consumer level, even maybe for like the Twitch like streamer level, I don't think we will really see or feel the impact of this change, but maybe the people who work directly for Amazon will.
Yeah. I'm honestly like, it's kind of for me at least, when you think about like Apple, for example, it's like, yo, Steve Jobs, like, rest in peace, Steve Jobs is not doing Apple anymore. Who's this new guy? So it's like you kind of wonder, like with Amazon, like it was the whole general idea that Jeff Bezos was that person for Amazon, right? So you kind of wonder, like, the next person, like you can't imagine anybody else starting up Microsoft than Bill Gates, right? Like the face of specific programs, places, groups, whatever. So it's kind of interesting to see with like that change of face, like what that may bring, what it may not bring. Like, and then you said, like there could be just inner changes inner workings that are going around, there may actually be something that actually affects and the direction as a whole of how they will overlook things, especially. And I would say at least 2022 that they may look at 2022 as like a different business direction. So I find that interesting. That Jeff Bezos is stepping down with that, and I'm kind of expecting a change. I'm hoping, though, it's more of a better change. But I usually am a sucker for hopefulness and optimism. So those are also my couple cents on that one. For those who are esports oriented, Apex Legends will be coming out on the Switch, I believe. Let me just pull up my handy dandy cheat sheet that I didn't tell you I was about to pull out. That's going to be coming out on the Nintendo Switch on March 9th, 2021. And that is, for those of you who are also like trying to plan out specific days, that's a Tuesday. So if you guys are interested in Apex Legends, that will be releasing on the Switch. In addition to that, players will also be receiving 30 free levels for the Season 8 Battle Pass, just to make sure they're catching up on the season. I kind of also look at this as when Overwatch was released onto the Switch, and as much as I really thought that the gyro controls were cool for Overwatch on the Switch, I honestly kind of want to question why. But then again, I'm looking at a more like esports oriented thing. It could be fun for people who can't like access like a computer or something for like those games. But I think it's still cool regardless. I just wish I wish there was a better reason that can't think of, which you're probably gonna think of right now.
I think it's interesting that Apex is finally coming to the Switch. And on one hand, it's something that players have been asking for a while now. Apex Legends rules. It's my favorite battle royale. By far, but it's interesting that to put it onto the Switch in the aspect of like it is a online only game. There are no offline modes for Apex Legends, and while the Switch is a device that you can take on the go with you, the actual overall Wi-Fi compatibility for the Switch is not the best. Like anything that requires you to have to connect to something that like a Wi-Fi that has like a landing page, such as let's just say like maybe like a McDonald's Wi-Fi or like a hotel Wi-Fi, you're probably not going to be able to use it because there is no browser support on the Switch. And so actually connecting to something that a Wi-Fi that has a landing page is basically impossible. So the only people who are going to be playing Apex Legends on Switch are probably going to be playing it at home with a stable Wi-Fi connection. And at that point, unless you just, I guess, don't have one of these other consoles or a gaming PC, why are you choosing to play Apex on your Switch instead of one of those? I guess that's my question. Who is the audience for this?
And that's something that's really good to bring up, because like that's why I said I look at it similarly to Overwatch. Like, are you trying to appease to the more casual sense? Because I believe Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Warzone, actually Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty since the current Modern Warfare, so that's 2019, since that game, it's been cross-platform, and that's the only game that's been able to do cross-platform. I believe, don't quote me on that, but that's the most consistent one I've seen, and I've been through. So I mean, in the sense where, especially with Nintendo servers being a little bit more shut off, which kind of goes into the next topic, by the way, you're right. Who does that appeal to? Like, it's not gonna and we've marketed the game to be an extremely competitive title.
It's also very interesting that it's coming to Switch now that crossplay is already in the game. So does this mean that Switch players are going to be playing against Xbox One, PS4, and PC players as well? Because I'll tell you what, playing that game, I would never want to play Apex Legends on a pair of Joy-Cons when the people I'm playing against are using mouse and keyboard, or even an Xbox controller for that matter. Because the Joy-Cons do not feel good. Like, Joy-Cons don't feel good to use in any kind of competitive sense.
I mean, at the very least, like having like that handheld feeling, like kind of akin to have like using like we're all old people. I assume we're all old people. I'm 28. Don't make fun of me. That we would enjoy the feeling of using like a handheld system to play probably with some of your favorite games. Like I would love a chance to play Persona 5 Royal on like like Nintendo Switch. Like if
Right.
that were like it's just
Mhm.
like that classic. We don't have to sit at our TV, just stare at that all the time. And I think a lot of us, when you think about it, that could also appeal to those who just want to enjoy the game in a more laid back and more casual like feeling. That's similar to just having that Game Boy. So I mean,
That's
I
fair.
yeah, and I feel like that would be a thing to consider as well. I just feel like these are things that should have been like you said, these are things that should have been released or planned thoroughly in a lot earlier of a time frame. Because you should know this, because I don't know off the top of my head. When did Apex Legends come out?
Came out 2 years ago, and they're celebrating their second anniversary today.
Right? Overwatch
Mhm.
came out 2016. And how long did it take when you think about it?
Far too long.
Right, for both games. So I feel, and they're not going to connect the Switch to like the huge servers. Like, and I can, at least from the esports from an esports perspective, the only game that is allowed as a on the Switch for as a competitive title is Super Smash Brothers. Like, period. Like, we know Rocket League is on the Switch. That doesn't count, right? Like, even though that's kind of like all together, but people who play on console like PS4, Xbox, they could still bring those skills over to the the PC. It's like these games on the Nintendo Switch, um if they were more prepared to connect those, and if they were more update like their internet, that would be a better way to connect the Switch into like that esports area. Because like this Nintendo Switch, it in itself is probably one of the best creations in gaming within this decade alone, because of how versatile it is as a console and as a handheld system.
Mhm.
um
I agree with you on that. I do think that the design choices of the Switch are incredibly innovative, with like the ability to switch from the handheld to the docked mode. However, I feel like with like obviously I like my opinions about Nintendo and like their modern day policies, business policies are well documented at this point. But like while the Switch itself as a piece of technology is quite innovative, there are so many things about it that are recursive. I think, in my personal opinion, the fact that their internet infrastructure has been absolutely garbage. Now we will see if this is improved by. We'll talk about it in the next news story. There, how long has the Switch been out now? 2017. Mark,
Yeah.
20, I think maybe even earlier. I think it came out 2016, because I remember I was in college.
I believe
And
it was. I believe it was March of 2017. Um,
Yeah, I believe it was also
was it 2017?
March. It's saying March 3rd, released worldwide
Yep.
March 3rd, 2017. Yeah,
so
because I remember I had the Wii U. I just got the Wii U that year. The Switch came out this like just then too, and I was like, ah,
Yeah.
damn.
right. So it's been out since 2017. This maybe sounds like a very minor thing, but there are no themes on the Switch at all. Like you think about like all the really like clever and inventive like themes that you could get on like your DS or your 3DS, and
Mm.
like the way that you can actually customize that thing. There's no music at all. Like that, it just there are a lot of things that like were really great about older Nintendo platforms. Like you think about just like the kind of like ambient music that played when you were on the Wii like main menu. You don't have any
Yeah.
of that on the Switch. You've got the little like call and response. The I can't whistle right now. Whatever. Da 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 da, like that when you click on like the like your friends list or whatever. But there's none of that. The Nintendo eShop feels like a nightmare to navigate. Am I?
Yeah.
It,
No, I mean the
it is
eShop.
so hard to find anything on there.
Yeah, the Wii U. I've from what I remember, and it's been a long time. The Wii U eShop for Nintendo was that was super messy.
Hmm.
Like, Wii U had like all this potential to be like this super duper great console because you got this super duper awesome looking pad that kind of doubled as a PSP for your Nintendo. But
Hmm.
what sucks about that is, they kind of set up for being somewhat of a sloppy release, sloppy console, and really the only really, in my opinion, good thing that came out of it wasn't Smash 4, by the way. It was more so like some of the Mario games in Mario Kart, whatever. Because like, Mario Kart's like a really nice game for friends to not lose friendships. But Nintendo Switch, their eShop, in my opinion, is better. It's not as organized as, the Microsoft Store for Xbox, the PlayStation Store. Um,
In my opinion, the best looking store interface is the Epic Game Store.
yeah,
Out of all of them, the Epic Game Store is the one that is the best. And one of the really interesting aspects of that is that it doesn't do any of like the curation stuff that any of these other stores do. Like a lot of these other stores will be like, oh well, based off of your purchase of this, this, and this, you might like to play this, this, and this. But that ends up just getting really messy really quickly. Epic Game Store, on the other hand, is like, hey, we think that everybody should play this game, and this game, and just makes it look really. Epic Game Store has a lot of other issues that it still needs to work on, but from that aspect, I think aesthetically it looks pleasing.
it's messy, and I agree, by the way, because like I think talking about Epic Games, by the way, they're like adding like free games.
Mhm.
Like it's going through their client for that. It's like I used to be like this huge like I like into Steam like so much. Like and I still appreciate Steam for what they do. It's just it's starting to get clogged up when you search for things. I don't know if it's like my computer, the internet, or if it's the actual client itself. But with Epic Games, like I've had it for like, a year, and every time I like try to search for something, instant access for everything that I need.
Yep.
No jumble, mumbo, whatever. It gives you what you want, how much it costs, and it tells you the discount right away if you get
Mhm.
one. And I really just think, between Steam and Epic, because those right now are like the two bigger gaming clients. Like Epic, we were kind of thinking. I remember last year we were thinking, yeah, it's just Epic, it's whatever, right? Like they're never going to be like Steam, but I think Epic, especially Epic, is starting to really like, or even now, they actually have solid ground with their client, with their organization as a whole.
Yeah. Last little thing I wanted to say about the Switch, to kind of like talk about, like
Yeah.
proving my point as far as like me feeling like it's a innovative device but a recursive device at the same time, is the aspect of just kind of going back into the online aspects of it. To add a friend, you still have friend codes. Whatever, friend codes still suck, but whatever. But what is the point of having the friend code and adding your friends if in every game that has an online function you have to go and find a different friend code that is special to each unique game and then add them that way? Nintendo, make it make sense. Make it make
Smash.
sense. Like literally, like if I add Carlo and Bree on my regular Nintendo Switch friends list, I should not have to add them again when I get to Smash or Mario Kart or Splatoon. Like I shouldn't have to do any of that stuff. And that's the part where I get really frustrated with Nintendo. Is like, yes, you have a really great product that is selling gangbusters, but you're not doing anything. It feels like Nintendo is resting on their laurels, and it's just like, oh yeah, we have a really great product. Wii U, that was a little scary for us, but now we got the Switch, so it doesn't matter. And they're not
I mean,
doing
well,
anything.
but you're right though, because that kind of goes right into the next piece of information that was shared February on the 1st of February. So a groundhog didn't show up that day. It was Nintendo, and they wanted to say we're gonna have changes. Well, what kind of changes, Nintendo? Well, we're gonna actually start doing this thing that's called. We're gonna start using a different system called, and I quote, NPLN, which is different from what they were using, NEX. You don't need to know what I'm talking about. Just know that they are planning to replace the internet uh, multiplayer system shenanigans in general to make it better. One of the reasons, one of many reasons, by the way, that they are changing the internet is because Monster Hunter Rise is apparently the first title to make use of that system, the newer system that's coming in. Another reason why they are changing is because there's a Twitter user by the name of Oatmeal Dome. Yep,
Great name.
I want you to like let's just revel in that name. They say, and I quote, NEX is at least 18 years old by now, so it's dated. You might be surprised to hear that the Splatoon 2 version has an unused function to check to see if it's running Windows 98.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
right?
old.
Right? Like, it's stupid. Like, you shouldn't wait. It's 2 decades to change your internet. And I'm super passionate about this because I'm very much still salty and I want this to be on record, and I don't care, by the way, if it's on record. I'm very much salty still for that cease and desist that Nintendo sent out in December, in late November, early December for the Big House.
Mm-hmm.
Because one, that ruins a good chunk of me doing my recruiting
Yeah.
for Smash, and it made that a lot harder to search for players in Smash. But reasons why we complain so much is because when you're playing on Smash in the year of 2021, it's because you don't want to have a PowerPoint presentation every time you move your character. It's like, oh, look, next scene. Like, no, you want that stuff to be fluid. Like, especially with a pandemic, these are things that should have been thought of even without a pandemic, actually thinking about it. Like, you should be able to have a really good internet or multiplayer, an online feature that's really honestly worth the money, by the way, since you have us charged for that. Like, it should be worth the monetary value. And I will bet you my job that if they had fixed their internet, they would have better sales online way more than it is right now. They have like pretty okay, like decent sales because there's one thing that they are resting their laurels on. It's Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
And the price of Nintendo Switch Online is incredibly cheap in comparison to Xbox Live Gold and PlayStation Plus. It's $20 for a year versus $60 for a year.
Like, I think several years ago, there was a PlayStation. PlayStation had like a huge hack in their internet, right? And at one point, PlayStation. I remember this. PlayStation 3 had like free. It was like free, just access to the internet. Now, like there's by a very legitimate reason, they have PlayStation Plus, which also because they are using those funds allegedly using those funds to make sure that like you have a secure internet. And I'm pretty sure Xbox does the same thing to have that secure internet where like nothing or like online feature like server for your specified consoles. Because they have that, it's honestly been a while since I've heard of anything bad, at least from the PlayStation side, about how there's been like bad shenanigans happening. There's like little to no lag. Like there's still lag because it's by virtue of being a console. There's some pretty unfortunate lag, but like it's just one of those things where like Nintendo just needed to step up their game a decade ago.
It truly and honestly, I think if they had replaced it before the Switch launched back in 2017, this would be a completely different conversation. This conversation wouldn't have happened. Like it's something that like if you're gonna go all in on the Switch, like you need a touchdown. You need a touchdown because after the Wii U, you need to win. You need to have a banger of a console because the Wii U didn't do well.
No,
I think that being said, purely on opinion, I think Nintendo's claim to fame, right, is their series, and I think people who are invested in buying Nintendo consoles is because they're looking to buy specific series or like because Nintendo has been in their family for generations. Like that's a
Definitely.
personal story for me.
Hmm.
But I think while there's probably a lot that they could have done better, in my opinion, they probably have a board of executives who are not thinking of these things, who may potent, and this is not to say that this is the reason, but potentially maybe of older age who like may not see the functionality or like the how great like having better online features would be or like better online servers. Um, so and again, like pure opinion, I'm sure if maybe they had like a fresh hire of like employees who actually cared about this stuff. And I mean, they're making changes now, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So the hope is like yes, they the truth is that they could have done better to keep up with their competitors, but because Nintendo has a cult following for different reasons than their other competitors, I think that's what's helped them, but now
Hmm.
they have the reason to step up.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, I guess like my thing is that with Nintendo has always been like Nintendo's gonna do its own thing in
Yeah.
comparison to PlayStation and Xbox. But now you've kind of seen like with the launch of the Switch, they've kind of veered back a little bit more towards the mainstream with like what PlayStation and Xbox are doing. Yet they are still trying to do things their own Nintendo way. And there's nothing wrong with doing it the Nintendo way. But I think if you have to choose in this regard, you have to either be content with doing it the Nintendo way, stick to your guns, do weird stuff like the Wii, or you need to really be looking at like, all right, what makes PlayStation so successful?
Yep.
What is it that makes PlayStation so successful and one of the most popular? Why did the PlayStation 4 sell so many units? Like what?
Like,
And it's not just like first party IPs as well. Like overall, PlayStation Plus has been a great service for PlayStation since it launched on the PS3. Granted, it didn't pick up in popularity really until the PS4, as far as I'm aware. But and then from there, you look and you see, well, PlayStation got a lot of their inspiration from Xbox with how they started charging people for Xbox Live Gold and back on the original Xbox, and that was because back in the day, the reason why the Xbox started charging for what became Xbox Live Gold, and then you started seeing these paid subscriptions for online services on consoles, was because before then, all of the internet-based gaming on consoles was all done like based on host-based servers, which are awful. They suck. They suck a lot. What they want really is a client based server where everybody connects to at the same time, so that way everybody has an equal advantage. Xbox was like, we could do that ourselves, and what we'll do is so that way nobody has to worry about doing this host migration server stuff. We will do that, and then we will just charge everybody to basically use our service. And so that's what ended up becoming Xbox Live Gold. And I don't know. I guess for me is it's like I want Nintendo to pick a lane and stick in it and stick with it. Right now they're in between the lane of like trying to be competitive with Xbox and PlayStation and doing their own weird Nintendo thing. And I think overall it's leaving some people in it like alienated because it's not quite like the Switch stuff is novel. Obviously, the switching back and forth between the docked version and the handheld version, but I think that kind of gets, I don't want to say tedious or like tiresome. It becomes less of a novelty. That I think after you've owned the system for a couple of months, because I think most people have at some point they figure out, I'm going to play this game in handheld mode, or I'm going to play the system in handheld mode almost exclusively, or I'm going to play this game in docked mode almost exclusively. Yes, they will switch between the two on occasion, like if they're going to go on vacation, but I think that novelty wears off after a while, and then once that novelty wears off, what do you look forward to, I guess, with the console? That's just my personal opinion anyway, and like how I've analyzed it.
Yeah, and I think like if they did more things like Xbox and PlayStation, like they do the here's free games for some random reason because it's February, I guess, whatever. Like for members of said games, I know Xbox gives way more stuff, which I do commend them for, by the way. But I think if Nintendo just did that instead of just doing, like, oh, here's a percentage off on your next your purchase or something, or here's some coins or whatever, like, which I will admit though, those coins, when I like purchase games and you kind of get to register the game into your account, they give you coins that kind of equate to like just saying bits for Twitch or something, and so I use that to buy like DLC costumes for Smash. But anyways, that like you could do more than just that though, and that probably even has nothing to do with Nintendo Online. Like Nintendo Online literally just pays for like playing with other people. That's it. Like they are very lucky, in my opinion, that they have complete rights to the most, and going back to Bree's comment, the most well-known, the most classic, the most family-oriented titles: Super Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, Mario Party, like any of those original, those classic games that very much like hold weight to many a classic gamer's heart. That if it wasn't for those specific titles, like Nintendo would have been out a long time ago. I'm glad that they're actually making those strides, especially the internet within the past week. I'm also even glad that they were adding more games to the Switch, like Xenoblade Chronicles. I don't know. That's weird. Like, so it's definitely a change that has been slow, but a welcome change. I just also wish that welcome change was a fast welcome change. But because having that love-hate relationship with Nintendo, because like you could probably relate to this, just having that as your childhood, like you want to be able to have a good reason to purchase Pokemon, Smash, Animal Crossing. You want to have a good reason to like even like connect with other people too. You just want to play Animal Crossing. But like if Animal Crossing was not on the Switch, you probably may not have had an interest in getting a Switch, like probably, right? Like maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, on a personal aspect, like gaming for me was mostly on the Nintendo growing up and then into adulthood. Like I only just started PC gaming, and I personally have no interest to buy a PlayStation or buy a Xbox, for various reasons. But
No, I
yeah.
I get it. It basically, before I go into a couple more things, because I know I've been slow. Actually, one more thing. But yeah, basically, moral of the story is Nintendo, do better. You're disappointing your adult children, very much.
Let me just say this because I've like kind of kept quiet.
My bad.
No, it's fine. I've just kind of been listening and hearing both of your opinions and like what you noticed and what you've analyzed, because you do have other like games consoles that you play like online, so you have a little bit more, I guess, variety than I do. So it's always interesting to hear. I will say that I agree. I think that there's quite a few things that they can do better, specifically with the online function. But for me, I don't necessarily want, like, I want Nintendo to be Nintendo and keep doing their quirky stuff and making amazing games, because I think, like, that is what's going to keep sustaining them, is having these really great classic games. And, like, in my opinion, I feel like they experiment quite a bit with these games, and they're very innovative. Like Breath of the
Mhm.
Wild was just like groundbreaking for Legend of Zelda series, and I think
Agreed.
overall for Nintendo. Um, but I don't think they need to stick to one lane. I think they should be allowed to lane shift, and I think that
Mhm.
they should be doing that because they need to be furthering these systems so they can continue to become close to their competitors. I don't want them to be the competitors. I like the fact that there's games from other systems that I can now get on the Switch because that's
Yep.
my console of choice. And
Mhm.
whether it like for me, whether it came out late, like whether it came out later or sooner, closer to the launch of some other games, um, the fact that I can access these other games now on the Switch for me personally is revolutionary because now I have a whole like a bigger library available
Yeah.
to me because this is specifically the console that I subscribe to.
Right.
And it's also a much, we don't need to go into this debate, but the
Yeah.
price point is also nice of the
No, I
console.
mean, and
No,
I totally understand that too. I think it's like when you look at a console, when you look at the organization, like the producer, whatever, you'll think of a face, right? With Nintendo, begrudgingly, it's Mario. It should have been Luigi, but you think of Mario, like when you see Nintendo, right? When you see Xbox, my personal thing that I see, the person I see is Master Chief from Halo.
Mhm.
For PlayStation, I see Jack and Daxter. You know, like you have that face
Yeah.
of characters that like it's fine to own those characters. That's why I think it's great that Xbox slash Microsoft they have those exclusive rights for Master Chief and slash Halo. I think it's great that Nintendo has their exclusive rights for Mario. I think it's great that PlayStation has their exclusive rights for Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Daxter. It's just like like PlayStation, like Xbox, being able to branch out to do those things. Honestly, PlayStation has been, in my opinion, more known for fighting games and JRPGs more than the other two games, right?
Mhm.
Nintendo has been like really interesting because it's a very much a generic all-arounder console for everybody. Xbox is more of like the first-person shooters and Rocket League. Like, like that's where they get typecast. Those consoles, in my opinion, get typecasted into specific areas. I just wish Nintendo, you know, for the sake of my own childhood dreams, would branch out and keep that longevity of Nintendo, the Switch, and just the entirety of that organization alive, because they're really good at doing said things with their consoles, their games, and whatever. Um, but yeah, after that stuff, yeah, because I know we've been going a very long time, and so I just wanted to bring up something that does actually, before we get into this, something that really does actually hit me close to home is that there's going to be, and for the first time since Soul Calibur, there's going to be something Filipino related. And when I say Soul Calibur, Talam is a character in starting in Soul Calibur 2, 3, and she kind of is a really awesome character to use. However, there's this game called Baleti City. It's a horror RPG game, and it's based off Filipino mythology. And so that's something, if you guys are interested in doing so, please check out at Baleti City, BALETECITY, Baleti City. I may, by the way, have been pronounced extremely wrong. I don't actually claim to speak Tagalog whatsoever, so sue me. I understand it. There's a Patreon for the support of that game. It's patreon.com, Baleti City, same spelling and all. But it's a really cool thing. It's a horror game. You are a high school student that is basically trying to figure out like all the things that is going on in the area that you are in. And so you start running into this open world horror genre of just all the scary things that's happening. So there's this super scary lady called the Bagong Laro. No idea what she is, but you should find out. I'm going to be looking at that game more closely, and I'm going to be doing my own donations. I'm going to probably stream that whenever I get a chance. So check that out. I'm definitely pushing for that because it's such a great. It looks like such a great game, like just the graphics look so clean. Honestly, better than Dead Island, from whoever produced that game. But it reminds you of that, but even better. And again, like it's rare that you get to see games come from countries like the Philippines. And I say this as someone as a Filipino. Um, Such great awareness, such great drive to get this game out by the creators. By the way, it's a 27-year-old creator, by the way, who produced this. I believe his name is
Wow.
Nelly. Uh, yeah. So check that out, please. It's twitter.com/Belletti City. You get all that information, but let me know if you do get a chance to check it out. Let me know what you think about it. You'll probably see me get a chance to play that hopefully sometime in the near future. But um, talking about games, thank you very much for letting me go on my tangent because we got something even more important. And Kyle, you ready to take us on the wonderful world of stonks?
Let's talk about the stock market, shall we? So yeah, we should talk about the GameStop stuff that happened this past week. Now, I don't want to speak for... I can only speak for myself here, but I am no expert on the stock market. Any advice I give, you should not follow financially. Just want to go ahead and get all that out there in the first place. I feel like the three of us, as well as I'm sure the people who are listening to this podcast or watching this on Twitch or YouTube, have learned quite a bit about the stock market over the past week. So let's talk about GameStop. So basically, what happened was a bunch of people on Reddit saw that some hedge funds were shorting stock on GameStop stock. What this means basically is shorting. Trying to think of how to explain basically what it means. Basically, it comes down to you borrow stock from a company and sell it at whatever the current price is, hoping that the price will go down on the stock. So that way, after a certain amount of time, you then buy the stock back and sell it back to the owner, and you keep the difference between what the purchasing price was and what the selling price was. It's a really weird thing that, when you consider that this is a perfectly legal thing to happen in the stock market. But basically, hedge funds decided that they were several hedge funds decided that they were going to try and short the stock of GameStop to a astronomically low level, to the point where stocks were $4. GameStop was worth $4 basically, $4 a share.
Yeah, they were low.
They were I think a 10-year-old actually was able to get into the stocks and cashed out for $5,000.
Right. So, at its lowest, I believe it was $4. But a bunch of people on the Reddit subreddit known as Wall Street Bets saw how low these hedge funds were shorting the stock, and they were like, "Hey, let's kind of let's just kind of screw with these hedge funds," and then proceeded to buy and buy and buy, causing the price of GameStop stock GameStonk to surge. Making it just balloon in price. And now the thing is about when you do short a stock is that you do have to, if you do short a stock, you do have to at some point cover the difference when you're purchasing the stock back to sell back to the owner. So theoretically, your loss potential is basically infinite. The more that the stock goes up in price, the more that you're going to have to pay back in the difference when you return the stock at the end of the period. Which makes it insane, because at one point I believe the highest that the GameStop stock was $480 a share, making it I believe it at one point was a Fortune 500 company alongside Tesla and things like that. And it became this massive thing where hedge funds were basically being bankrupted to the point where like there was like one hedge fund like that I believe owed billions. That's billions with a B dollars to the point where was that Melvin Capital that
Yeah,
that
it was.
Yep.
um um as a result of this, Robinhood, which I'm sure anybody who's listening to a podcast has probably heard a podcast where Robinhood was a sponsor, probably not a sponsor anymore after all of this stuff. Robinhood is a app that you can download that makes day trading very easy and beginner friendly. Robinhood decides, hey, we're going to make it stop so that you can no longer purchase GameStop stock on our site. You can definitely sell it. We will allow you to sell it, but you're not allowed to purchase any more of it. Which is very, very shady. And it turns out Robinhood has several hedge fund investors in the actual app itself. This led to a lot of tweets about people talking about Robinhood, that it's very ironic that a app named after a fictional character who stole from the rich and gave to the poor is now basically stealing from the poor and giving back to the rich.
I was gonna say Robin Williams would not be happy with that at all. No. But,
it's a very, very fascinating situation because then it basically turned from a meme of like we're just gonna go invest a bunch of money into GameStop stock into it, then turned into this very big economic issue. You know, it turned into this issue of like I saw people starting to use the term, like, use the slogan "Power to the Players," you know, GameStop's slogan, as a rallying cry in all of this. Of like, no, we're not selling. Like now, this is not like this is pure spite now at this point. The fact that this is a legal thing that these hedge funds are doing to make themselves even richer, driving down the share price of GameStop. And now they're crying and saying, like, getting on CNBC and crying about this is an attack. This is an attack on the wealthy. That's an actual quote that somebody said on CNBC. This is an attack on the wealthy. It's just like, never underestimate the power of spite. That's really what this all kind of comes down to. It's just people being spiteful.
I loved how within the past like several months alone, you've got Twitter, Reddit just doing like just the entire weird community, which I assume would be a huge majority of millennial, you know, like our age, roughly older, like just, and you've heard this a lot too, and you guys have seen this on Twitter, holding the line for a lot of the issues that have come to be within these past several months. And I just find it really interesting that like everybody's just like, I think I read a post where they had I'm pretty sure you said this already, there was someone who's just like, yeah, I really had nothing to lose, I really didn't have money to, you know, throw in, but at the same time I was just really sick of these rich people doing this crap, and they would buy into the stock anyway. And you know, aside from the pettiness and the spite, like, you literally fight like hell when you have nothing to lose. And I find that really interesting, that even then, because I thought it was more of like a fighting style, like in like a physical fight mentality. But even that one tweet, I know it's just one tweet, it's just, it said so much, because that even though it's that one person, there probably are many similar people that had that were like, you know, when you think about how the economy is right now, like, we generally probably don't have money, you know, roughly speaking. Like, it's hard to actually ascertain funding in a consistent rate without worrying about your health at the same time. Also being able to have that important healthcare, you know, not to get too political, but I'm sorry that healthcare is political sometimes.
Although
you know,
it shouldn't be.
I know it shouldn't be at all. It's just the fact that, like, you know, you got all these individuals who decided to go on Reddit and or Twitter, band together, had nothing to lose, and go against these hedge funds. And it was great to see that said hedge funds had gone bankrupt, I believe, or lost millions or billions of dollars in this past month alone. And so I find that really interesting that that even with when it comes to that money that with monetary value, people who also had nothing to lose, like they just went in and bet it all, and it worked out. So, and what I believe is worked out really well.
Yeah. I just think my favorite part about all of this that makes me laugh, but it also makes me so frustrated is, so we got that $600 stimulus check, and people were asking legitimately like, what am I supposed to do with $600? Like for a lot of people that it didn't even cover rent, right? Like for a month. And people, and you saw so many people online like, oh, invest it, and now people are investing their money, and there's like, wait, not like that. And it's just really silly.
You're busting the same people, like the people that you played those like monetary games with, or on, and they play that same game as an even playing field in that sense. It's like playing chess. It's like if we were to play chess, and you got mad that I moved the pawn exactly the way it was supposed to move.
Right.
I think it's too stupid. Yeah.
Right. Or like that I like if I got mad that you moved the pawn the exact same way that I moved the pawn. Because literally this they're literally just doing what these hedge funds, and like it's insane. As far as where we're at now, as far as GameStop goes, I've opened up my stocks app because, yes, I re-downloaded the stocks app after all this stuff happened. Currently at after hours trading on as of this recording, GameStop stock is at $49.17, so it has crashed very hard. So do with that information what you will, but I don't know if this necessarily means that there is going to be some kind of big change that happens with the way that the stock market works. Also, of course, yes, this happened to GameStop, but it just so happened to happen to GameStop, right?
It was
AMC.
Yeah, so it was one of the companies that was being like short selling out from hedge funds. So it was GameStop, AMC, Nokia,
BlackBerry.
BlackBerry was another one. I believe American Airlines as well. So
Really?
these were there was quite a few companies who were experiencing short selling from hedge funds, and Wall Street bets. There's like threads upon threads upon threads of like these calculate decisions of putting in money for these specific companies for these stocks, and it's kind of interesting because typically, like, again, I am not a professional. Like, I don't know a whole heck of a lot about stocks.
I graduated with an English degree. You're fine.
Okay.
You graduated with a degree?
What typically would make sense for someone who wants to invest. What would make sense for someone who wants to invest in a company is usually it's like there's some revolutionary, like innovative thing going on. Like they're doing really well for themselves. Like these companies were not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why there was so much short selling and short stocks going on before that, and kind of this whole conversation of these people on Wall Street bets and those who have now bought into these stocks is kind of like making a calculated move to kind of make a point in some sense.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, like, and MD McKeever put in chat earlier, for those of you who are listening on YouTube, wherever, like, technically, it was in their terms of service, so technically, it was fine for them to do.
Talking about Robinhood.
Yeah, talking about Robinhood. So it's just like, the things that they did with the short selling and stuff. But morally, when you think about the ethics of what you are doing, there's a reason why, like, you'll see a lot of those shows where it's just kind of like they'll kind of like break away from like what's technically correct to do, but because of how they feel is right. It's just like, don't go in and save them, but then because it's not like statistically it's not gonna work out, and then the protagonist is like, screw you, I'm cool, we'll jump in, save people, and make it out anyway. Like, a little bit more of an exaggerated like metaphor, but the idea is just like, when you think about the general idea, like consensus of how they came to be, how they were able to do those things, like, you can't just bust people for doing that kind of trade that you were doing.
Well, it goes to the whole idea of a free market, right? Like, people are allowed to do. Well, yeah.
Free market.
There's, yeah. I won't go more into that, but
No.
that's essentially, why a lot of people were freaking out, and even AOC did a stream, about it, how that is not okay. Whether you believe in, buying in on these stocks or not, it's not okay for these hedge funds to like take that away from the average buyer.
Definitely.
And honestly, like, I walked into GameStop to buy, said game, the ReZero game, and I made a joke, by the way, just before before Kyle talks. I made a joke, by the way, because all of that was happening on like the 29th still of January, and I was like, yeah, I'd like to, like, I would like to just pick up my my stuff, my pre-order. Also, can I buy stocks? They were laughing because of all the attention they were getting, and we're in Kalamazoo, which is like somewhat of a decent city size on Michigan. You can't see my hand, but that's usually what a state looks like in the name of Michigan. So, if you ever want to know what Michigan looks like, just hold up your right hand. Yeah. And so I walked in when I asked them about the stocks, and they were, even people, a lot of the people in GameStop had felt slightly affected, at least the people I knew anyway, with the stock market shenanigans that have been happening in the past several weeks, because in that sense they felt like it also affected not their job performance, their job security with all the hedge funds. So it's like, it makes me mad, because I used to work at GameStop too, and I know about I hear a lot of the people who are just like, I hear GameStop. I'm like, and I'll admit, I was okay working at GameStop. Like, for what it's worth, I was okay with it working at GameStop. What made it even better were the individuals that I worked almost all the time. I went every GameStop I go to, I've always had like a great experience with people, and so it's usually the people that don't really like go wrong. It's when you're playing around with the likelihood of individuals who could possibly lose their jobs, especially in some way, it kind of gets worrisome for those who are in question, like those who are working there. That's just something that I had noted when I went there, and I mean, like, they liked the intention for sure. They were just like, oh, what's going on? So
yeah.
I mean, and then on some other notes, like, people made a lot of money off of this investment as well.
Yeah.
And there you saw some posts of people talking about like being able to pay off credit card debt with like their investment on this GameStop thing. I shared an article with the two of you earlier, and I'll read some of it from. This is from an article from GameSpot, not GameStop, GameSpot.
Same letter.
About a 20-year-old college student at Cornell University made thousands from the GameStop stock price surge and doing something very noble with the money. The man, Hunter Kahn, told CNN that he used some of his earnings from his GameStop stock to pay for 6 Nintendo Switch Lite consoles that he donated to the Children's Minnesota Hospital in Minneapolis. Kahn cashed out of his GameStop position last week, earning $30,000 from his investment.
Can we agree that most gamers like to do things for good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that can be fair.
But yeah, basically he spent about $2,000 buying Nintendo Switches, eShop cards, games, and screen protectors, and donated them to a children's hospital.
Good.
That's awesome.
So, I don't know. I think this whole thing is very weird. I think it's really odd, but also really good.
It is, because at least it makes like 90% of America become an economics major for like a couple months.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We've all become professionals.
Ooh.
Uh, I still have no idea. Like, and I'll admit I have no idea how stocks work, and I don't think I ever will understand how stocks work,
Stonks.
especially in this sense. GameStonks. So I mean, yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I know this is a very like for what the redditors and a lot of the denizens of the internet are doing. For what it's worth, it's a very positive thing. Especially with the support that they've been throwing out, and like you said too, like just with the charities that a good thing that I brought up earlier with the kid winning like thousands of bucks, cashing it in. You know, the guy sending like buying switches for like children and stuff like that, and for I think local children. Whatever you just said.
Hmm.
I just think it's again, it just shows that there are individuals, even with all this, that they are willing to do something right for the world for what it's worth, especially with everything going on. They're doing their best. So
Definitely. Yeah, but yeah, I think that kind of covers the GameStonks situation. It's pretty much over now at this point.
yeah, I actually haven't heard about it, so I'm kind of glad we talked about it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it was right because, for me, this is all kind of new. So to have this blow up over the last week and a half,
Hmm.
well, really into from January, like the last 2 weeks or so. I had a lot of questions. I know people that I'm friends with were really curious. So I think it was important that we talked about it so we could like cover kind of the basics if anyone was kind of being like, "What the heck is going on?"
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. But I think that's
Ooh,
gonna do it for this episode, huh? It's a lot of
it was
stuff.
a good talk. Yeah, it was a good talk. It was a lot of stuff, good talk, and I do miss you guys. It's not the beer talking, but I really did miss you guys just having um the session. So
Good time when we're able to get together and do this chat.
hmm
And like this is a good catch up for the three of us, but then also being able to like interact with those who are here live with
yeah,
us on Twitch is a really awesome experience, and I look forward to it every time we do it. So thanks for sticking around.
100%.
thank you.
Well,
Um,
that is
yeah.
gonna be it for episode 5. This is the part where we tell you to like go follow us and stuff.
Whew, so yeah, regarding that, you should if you haven't followed us yet, there's this nifty little button that looks like a heart, and I'll kind of display it on the screen. It looks kind of like this, kind of silly, but yeah, you should smash that button. Smash it really hard. Smash like you're playing on the Nintendo Switch. When you
Do it.
smash that button, as long as it's green. If it's red, don't do that because you'll break our hearts, and we don't want that. It's been a pandemic, and we don't want any more heartbreak than we do, that we don't deserve. So you
Don't
should
sell my
totally
heart.
follow us.
My
Yes,
achy
please.
breaky
If
heart.
you are listening through like YouTube, there's a big red rectangular sized button. You should smash the crap out of it because it says subscribe. And when you subscribe, it looks really cool because you get that really like invigorating feeling. And if you don't subscribe, that's fine. It's cool. You should though. You really should. And I don't know what the process is for iTunes, Spotify, and all that good stuff, but you should just do
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Yeah,
what
it's
they
it's
said.
easy. If you want to hear all the latest news and like what we've been up to, playing, watching, reading, and like getting a little bit of into like specifics for different topics, like today we covered GameStop. Um and hopefully in the future we'll be covering some more of the big hot ticket items. But
Hmm.
that's why you should be listening and subscribing. That way you don't have to search for us every time.
Yes.
And then, as we prefaced earlier, we are experimenting with new and different types of content for you
Mhm.
all. So, if you're interested in that, you should be following those channels that Carlo just mentioned. But I will make sure to put those out on social media so you are up to date with what we are doing.
Yes. Follow us all separately on Twitter. We
Shameless.
have names. There's names in front of our screens that you
Hmm.
see. Um. Yeah. So you should go ahead and follow those. We are hoping to reach our affiliateship soon. And the sooner we get there, the sooner we can help thank you guys, do some things for you guys to like just, as a thank you for just following us and just sticking along with us and listening to my generally annoying voice, which is very somewhat milky yet very sensual at the same time. So I figured you guys would be okay with that. So help us get into that affiliateship, and we do thank you for that support that you guys have shown us along the way.
Definitely. And I guess last little thing is, again, if you want to send us a email with a question that we can answer on the podcast, you can send that to bitsandpixs@gmail.com
Stop. Why did you say that? Why would you add that too? Come on.
Because I've been thinking it this entire time since we had that conversation earlier.
You've just been trying to hold it in this whole time.
Yes. Stuck in my head.
Are we gonna cut there?
You know what? That's
We're done.
Thanks everybody for listening to today's episode of Bits and Pickles. Wow, Bits and Pickles.
We're done.
Wow.
We're done.
Get me out of here.
Bye, everybody.
Take it easy.